As many of you know, you've been to a Home by Dark show before. We give a portion of net proceeds to a nonprofit every show. And tonight is really, truly one of my favorites. This young lady inspires me by her life and what she's done. And you're going to be inspired as well. And I thought of no better way than our last show of the year here at Chucker than to lead off with one of the great people I know. Will you please welcome Lauren Walier.
I'm so excited to be up here tonight with some of my favorite people. James. Right, everyone? I mean, aren't they amazing? Come on. And I'm so excited to share the evening with all of you as well. You know, I always love giving my speeches here because it's such a warm and accepting, welcoming environment. You know, kind of like I'm at home with my family. And what better way to give a speech than to feel like that? So, thank you. Most of you have probably watched me grow up over the past, what is it now, like 4 or 5 years? And that's about when my journey began. I learned around that time that there was no federal funding for cerebral palsy research, affecting 17 million people worldwide. And it's called the forgotten disability. And I, at about 12 years old or so, took a step back and said, okay, wait. Number one, it affects that many people, that many children. Number two, there's nothing being done for those children. So they just get progressively worse as they get older. And I thought, I have my voice, and I use it very well. So I have to be the voice for those kids who don't have their own. Because if I don't do it, who will? Woo! So that spring, my mom reached out to James, and he just took a hold of me and said, okay, I want you to be the charity of the evening at one of my shows. And so that was my very first Home by Dark show, and I kind of fell in love with the whole thing. And that night, I heard James' song, Be Courageous, and it, like James says in his song, if you take fear out of the equation, everything is possible. And that's 100% true. You just have you have to have the courage to take the fear out of the equation. So I use that song and the theme of that song to inspire others with and without CP, people of all abilities. And I love it. It's the theme that I go by now. And James, thank you so much for sharing your platform and for sharing your songs, because they've changed my life. And thank you. When I was 13 years old, I courageously became the founder of my own official 501c3 nonprofit foundation to help other children with cerebral palsy. And I was so excited at that time about the new chapter that I had started, and I thought, what better way to keep this going than to have one of my favorite songwriters write me a song for my foundation. So I came up to James after one of the shows and I said, hey James, will you write me a song for my foundation? Please, 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 please. And he said, he looked at me and he goes, I won't write you one song. And I thought, oh my God. He said, I'll do you one better. I'll write you two. Aww. And so then we collaborated over the next couple months and wrote 2 amazing songs together. So thank you for that. And thank you for everything else that you've done to support me and my foundation. And thank you to all of you for being such an amazing audience to speak for. I mean, as a public speaker, this is the audience that you dream of speaking to. Thank you for everyone here for being my extended Home by Dark family. Although I do have to say, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight if it weren't for my current therapy program that I participate in. 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a wheelchair and pretty much on my way to the grave. And I was so scared and didn't know what to do, and if it weren't for my parents, I wouldn't be here. So I started that program in a wheelchair. The wheelchair was my best friend. And then I went to a walker, and then I went to a one-arm crutch, and now I'm currently using a 1-point cane, but just to get the most perfect pattern possible. And pretty soon, I'll be getting rid of my cane and have the most optimum function possible. So today, I'm very proud to say that my foundation is currently raising awareness for cerebral palsy. And I hope that one day, through our efforts, it will no longer be called the forgotten disability. We are training therapists in my current therapy program so that we can spread it out all over, and you won't just have to come to Atlanta, Georgia to get it. And then we are able now to give grants to children with cerebral palsy so that they can have X amount of hours of free therapy and have to at least have a taste of what their life could be if they put the work into it. And that's my goal, is to be able to give them the best quality of life possible. And I'm so proud of that. We've put a lot of hard work, I'm sure, as you know, into something that you believe in. So I'm very proud that we've been able to start accomplishing one of our #1 goals. I'd like to dedicate my speech tonight to the 17 million people living with cerebral palsy. I'd like to dedicate my speech tonight to my family, my parents, for supporting me in everything that I do, to my amazing grandfather, who flew all the way from Buffalo, New York, to be here tonight. Sorry, I do have a bit of a cold. I'm not kidding, so. There's some phlegm in my throat, along with tears in my eyes. To my dear friends, Debbie and Grant Goodeve, could y'all stand up? I got it. And, hey Mayo, could you stand up real quick? To my, hey Mayo, can you stand up again real quick? To one of my best friends, my professional world champion dance coach and partner, thank you so much for believing in me, for trusting in me, and for one day making me into something the world has never seen before. Thank you. I do want to say one last thing. The motto that I choose to live by was given to me for my 16th birthday by someone very close to me. And it's by one of my idols, who is Audrey Hepburn. And it says, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. And so are all of you. You can make a difference in the shake of someone's hand and the smile that you give them. We all have the ability to achieve our dreams. You just have to put your game face on and go get it.